What's up, everybody? This is Jarrett from Bowling for Soup, and you're listening to Upside Down Shark Radio. Nothing worse than an upside down shark, except an upside down shark on the radio.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 42.
That's the one.
Of Upside Down
meaning
Shark
of life.
Radio. Of what?
It's the meaning of life, 42.
I still haven't seen that film or read that book.
You should, it's good.
I should is good.
Should is good.
My name is Craig, 27 born.
Happy birthday.
Joined. Why, thank you. Joined by Tom, 8, Bakery.
Oh, wow. I know I look young, but I'm not going to tell you my secret. How's it going?
Do you think people will be able to divulge the secret names we've got going on?
I don't get it.
The number is like our age. That's okay, yeah.
It was your birthday this week, so many happy returns.
What does that even mean, really?
It means that we hope that you return for the next year and that you don't die.
So I guess that was more of a thing back in the old Eden days then.
I presume. I literally just made that up. That might not be true. I'm just saying things.
This is another week where we are communicating through the medium of the internet. You're not using... Are you tethering from your phone?
I am indeed.
Okay, so something could go terribly wrong, but let's hope it doesn't.
This is the call of the future. Today.
That's a Simpsons reference, isn't it?
It is indeed.
Barely 5 minutes in. God, not even 2 minutes in, actually.
Got to get those deep cuts in.
Today.
Who are we, Craig? What is Upside Down Shark?
We are Upside Down Shark Radio. This is a podcast. Maybe some people might call it the premium pop culture podcast, where we talk about pop culture, like comic books, movies, video games, films, sometimes wrestling, but I don't really like wrestling. And where can they find us for all these goodies, Tom?
Well, Craig, they can find us anywhere good podcasts are found. So whether that be iTunes, Stitcher, Castbox, iTunes Radio, we're on YouTube. We've got some great interviews with some great people on there, like Frank Turner, Bowling for Soup, and Mega Ran. They can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff if you want to have a chat, a chinwag, or even a chinkafwag. What's a chinkafwag? You'll have to go on to upsidedownshark.com to find out.
Not even I know yet.
I know. Hot off the presses.
I think you said iTunes Radio as well, but I didn't want to cut you off because you were on a roll.
I was in my flow. I think I meant TuneIn Radio.
Okay. Yeah, that Alexa loves that, so she's always talking about that radio.
What?
What?
What? Your Amazon Echo?
What? Yeah, I've got 2 of them now. I'm living in the future. So
have you got them to argue with each other yet?
Not yet. I didn't know you could do that. That sounds like a stupid fun thing to do.
Yeah, you can get one of them to say something, and then it will trigger the other one, and then it will go into an infinite loop of them just divulging into madness.
It's like when people used to play pranks by ringing up 2 different takeaways and then putting them on the phone to each other. This is the technological age of that.
There is a great example of that old school phone thing back on Radio 1, way back in the day. I think we're talking about 10 years ago. Do you remember Scott Mills?
I recall this, yeah.
And he used to do it. And then there was one time where he prank called a Scottish pizza takeaway place, and he was the angriest man he'd ever come across. So he just kept coming back to him time and time again. And one of them was, he said, do you deliver? And he was, yeah, of course we deliver. And you know, all right, then I'll have a pizza with liver, onions, and cheese. And it was just a blanket beep after that, because every word he said was a swear. And it was just
bloody liver. God, what you doing?
Yeah, it's good times. It's good times.
Speaking of liver, we are usually joined. Are we usually joined? There is a. Should we keep mentioning this or
the third man,
the third wheel? Yeah, the third guy. Yeah. How do you want to approach this subject, Tom?
Paul is still lost at the zoo, and frankly, we're getting worried.
Yeah.
He went into that gorilla pen, and I mean, it's hard to tell now that he's become one with nature if it's a gorilla or if it's him. Is he more man than gorilla? Is he more gorilla than man? I'm too scared to go in there in case I get my arms ripped off / feces thrown at me. So
That's always the fear.
we can only hope that we can bring him back to civility and back to the cultured, civilized realm of podcast hosting one day soon. But until then, all our hearts, prayers, and bananas to you, Paul.
If you're listening, Paul, please comment, rate, and subscribe. Shall we get on with the show?
Yeah, what's happened this week that has got the nerd world interested?
You said we need to talk about this big news that's happened, and I just read Aqua, and then I was excited. So I presumed that we're going to talk about the Aquabats. They've been doing this new promotional stuff for their new album, I think. So what's their new Aquabats news, Tom?
I'm going to have to cut you off there, because when I said the word Aqua, it was actually followed by Dash Barbie Girl, and I just wanted to talk about the 90s pop jam. So
are they still together?
I have absolutely no idea. I could not name you one fact about them other than the fact they had that one song. Well,
you're missing out, because the deep cut is Dr. Jones by Aqua is a very much better song.
Is that actually a song by Aqua?
Yes, and it is a banger, I will tell you that.
Okay, I will listen to this after this show. If you want to put in a little 10-second, 5-second clip of it when you're editing this, please be my guest.
Well, they just they shout "Wake up now!" So they just wake up now. There you go. That's all the tidbit we need.
Okay.
When we're starting to sound sleepy. Okay.
Righto. I will take your word for it. But,
so what's happening with Aqua these days?
I have no idea, because twist, M. Night Shyamalan-esque twist, I wasn't actually talking about the band Aqua at all. I wasn't talking about Aquabats either. I was talking about the new trailer, the first trailer, finally, for the long-awaited, much-hyped, DC movie, Aquaman, starring Jason Momoa.
Oh, you mean Seaman?
Yes.
Have you seen the poster for this film?
I have not.
You say anything? If you type in Aquaman, Finding Nemo, or is it Finding Dory? There's a Finding Dory poster where it's all of them, and then there's loads of sea mammals behind them, and it looks like someone's just taken out Nemo and Dory and Marlin and put Jason Momoa there, and that's the Aquaman poster. They look so similar, it's weird.
I'm just
really
looking now.
Weird.
Oh my god, that's so weird. It's exactly the same.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it?
Yeah, I really hope that's not accidental, because that would be hilarious if it was just some graphic designer was just like, do you know what we might be able to get away with? Let's just rip up the Finding Nemo poster.
No, it's just Larry, make this poster. It's about Aquaman, and he's just like, well, I did see Finding Dory the other day. Maybe, I may have subconsciously done it. That'd be funny.
I've just seen another edit where it's the Aquaman poster, but they've photoshopped in Bruce, Nemo, Dory from Finding Nemo, Ariel, Sebastian, and Flounder from Little Mermaid, and also Patrick from SpongeBob.
Patrick!
And that is the film I want to see.
I would watch that.
See, you're more into the whole DC universe than I am, in that you've seen more than one film. You've seen more than Wonder Woman. So just by default, you are more experienced in the troubled production of this movie franchise. So are you excited for Aquaman? I've not seen Justice League. I've not seen anything that Aquaman's been in. So should I be excited?
I'm not really that excited. This whole DC universe, it's really not really been what they were hoping for, I think, and now they're hedging their bets and they're not doing it, really, are they?
No.
Yeah, Aquaman is a weird, because he's he's had best-selling comics. Like, sometimes he's been top of the charts every now and again as well.
But he's also been a meme.
Yes, and I don't think Seaman helped him, the South Park parody, and also, was it Robot Chicken, constantly making fun of him. But Jason Momoa, he seems like an okay dude, you know?
Seems like a cool guy, so if anyone was going to add a bit of credibility to the character, it's probably him.
Yeah. I just think this whole DC universe is... It's not necessary, and whatever they were going... It's weird, because there's also another bit of DC news this week, the Titans thing. Have you heard about that? Are we going to talk about that?
I haven't seen the trailer, but I've seen people talk about it on Twitter and say that it could be worse than Batman vs Superman.
It's because all of it just seems so strange. Like in this Titans, like Teen Titans is like Robin and a bunch of other superheroes that they're not they're lesser known, you know, like Spider-Man is the neighborhood sort of superhero. This is the Teen Titans as well. So they're making a real life Titans TV program now. And in the trailer, Robin goes like, "Where's Batman?" He goes, "Where's Batman?" And Robin goes, F Batman. And all of these DC films and now this DC Titans TV show seems like my moody teenager, like mood swings. If I was going to write a script and it was dark and full of superheroes, this is what it would be. Like, I'm a dark fan of these things, whilst Marvel seems more like, hey, you know, superheroes, they're fun, let's have a good time.
Comic books are bright and colourful, so why don't we make our movies like that?
Yes, but Batman is a bit darker, so I can see why they would go that route, but I don't know. It's hard to get hyped, really. And I haven't seen the Aquaman trailer either.
With all of the, as you say, I completely agree. They're trying to make it too edgy, too dark, too just not fun. Yeah, it's desaturized and just a bit meh. And that in of itself isn't necessarily a bad way to go, because you only have to look at the Nolan trilogy of Batman films for how you can do gritty, dark films and make them predominantly fantastic. Like Dark Knight is still one of my favourite films of all time, and I just don't understand why you wouldn't go in a slightly different direction with these characters. And yeah, it just seems so diluted compared to what we had before, which is more disappointing.
I think everyone comparing them to Marvel it's doomed to fail. So I think on this show from now on, we shouldn't be comparing the two, because I don't think they're anywhere. They are definitely worlds apart, and even DC know that now, because they're making side films, and like different actors playing the same superhero or villain. So like, we should just treat this completely different to Marvel, because it's just, in my opinion, this extended universe they're making is garbage. But that's just, you know,
it is hot garbage. I mean, just the fact that they went for the big team up movie first, rather than building up the characters and getting us to know them over their solo origin films, doing it the other way around, it just seems a
bit of a rush job, really.
It just seems dumb. Like, I know they're doing it to try and be different from Marvel, and they want to have their big Avengers moment before too long, before like the superhero hype dies down, which it may very well do soon. But yeah, you're just setting yourself up for fail with all these cardboard characters that you have to rush it through in 90 minutes to actually care about them. Like, who is it? Is it Cyborg? And is there Martian Manhunter? Is he another one? I don't even know.
Martian Manhunter isn't even in the films yet. Yes, in what are you talking about? Justice League?
Yeah, well, that and Batman vs Superman. It's just, I don't care about Batman in that one, and Man of Steel, which is the only other one I have seen, admittedly. I didn't care about Superman in that, because Superman at least isn't my kind of character. I just don't dig him. So
you don't even like Superman with a beard?
I prefer him with the CGI'd mustache, but we didn't get that.
It was a CGI'd off mustache.
I know. That's why I would have preferred a CGI'd on the mustache, because then they could have made it like an old vaudevillain character from the 1920s.
Here to save you, Lois Lane.
Clark Kent and his cavalcade of comedy comic books. I mean, if you're listening to this and we're either a little bit more Fruit Loops or just not quite as on it as we normally are, it is currently in the middle of a huge heat wave for us in the UK, and it's also Sunday afternoon, so we're all very tired. And
there are some they sound like jet planes keep soaring past me, but there is like an air show going on.
There are the Red Arrows.
I think there's a rescue attempt to rescue Paul from the zoo, and so if you keep hearing that, then maybe that's what it is.
Well, if anyone's going to save Paul, it's the Red Arrows.
Whilst we're talking about DC, it's the have you seen the rising people wanting the Snyder Cut?
No, I know that there is apparently some director's cut of, is it Batman vs Superman?
There's Batman vs Superman. Apparently, the good version of that to watch is the extended version because they had loads of stuff in. But the Justice League, obviously, Joss Whedon. Is it Joss Whedon?
Joss Whedon.
Yeah. It's not Will Wheaton.
Will Wheaton.
It's Joss Whedon. He didn't Zack Snyder have some family problems?
Yeah, didn't he? His son was ill or something like that. Something really not very nice.
There was a tragedy. So your boy Josh went and finished it up.
Joss.
What did I say?
Josh.
Me and him are friends. I call him Josh.
Oh,
that's
okay.
Just, yeah. So, and now there are a silent majority of people who are saying the way he depicts the characters is just don't agree with it. Why is Batman jokey in that film? There were certain parts of it, there was no dark Superman, cape. What happened? He's ruined the film. Get us our Zack Snyder cut. And now there's a petition online to get the Zack Snyder cut released and stuff like that. And apparently it wasn't finished. And even if it was, it probably still wouldn't be that good a film. At least that's my opinion.
Yeah, I haven't seen any cut of it at all, so I'm not one to judge, but
it's similar to the whole Star Wars thing going on now as well.
Oh, what? There's apparently a different cut with Solo.
They want what was it, episode 8?
Oh, well, the petition to get the fans to remake it in.
Yeah, gee.
Oh, yeah, that's low. But speaking of fan-made projects, another story to come out of Comic-Con this weekend.
Yeah.
What was that?
That was the Uncharted theme.
I'm glad you're on the same page as me. Nathan Fillion and a director whose name escapes me right now because we research things on this podcast have released a 15-minute fan-made short depicting Nathan Fillion as Nathan Drake in Uncharted, and everyone is raving about it and saying that it is really good.
Have you seen it?
I have not seen it myself yet. I haven't had a chance, but I mean,
we're really good at this.
I'm a busy man. Have you seen it?
I watched it twice.
Oh, is it that good?
Yeah, me and my girlfriend, we enjoyed the Uncharted series. I watched it, and then I was like, you should probably watch this. It's very good. And then I've watched it again with her. Yeah,
okay.
So it's very good. He could play a good Drake.
I've played half of Uncharted 3, and that's my exposure to the franchise.
If anyone's analysing our podcast, it's like, did you watch this trailer? No. Tom, did you watch this or play this? Nah. But let's just talk about it anyway. Why not? Yeah.
Well,
we're best talk about it.
We're still more qualified than 90% of internet pundits, so...
Yeah, at least we showed up.
Yeah, exactly. We're not at the zoo. But yeah, I've seen clips of it, and I really like the way that they incorporate some camera angles that are very reminiscent of third-person action video games. Yeah. The over-the-shoulder camera look, which they did try in Doom, starring Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Carl Urban, and that was the only good bit of the film, was when they went to the first-person camera angle.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson, one of the highest-paid actors in Hollywood right now. You're saying it wasn't a good film?
It was not a good film.
It was not a good film.
But
I agree. Like, he gets the character down. Are we spoiling it?
No,
well, it's just a short. It's just a short, really. It's not really anything to spoil. It's widescreen for most of it. Then, in true just Uncharted, he just jumps out like a 3rd-story window, and then he's on his feet. And then, over the shoulder, it goes from widescreen to full screen, and then it's got that little sequence where it's like you would be playing it, and it's very good to see that. I don't think it would make a whole film, but it shows that he would be good in the role.
Well, I know that the director, who I've just looked up, Alan Unger, he said in an interview at Comic-Con promoting this that he did it for the fun of it. He said that both he and Nathan Fillion were big fans of the franchise, and so they basically met up over lunch and decided to do it in a gap in Nathan Fillion's shooting schedule. But he did stress that if Sony saw this and thought that there was legs in the project, or if they wanted to expand it into something more, that he was obviously open to the idea. So I can see it as sort of like, yeah, we'll do this for fun, but it is also like, in a sense, a sales pitch as well, to try and get them to make something a bit more feature length, which I would dig. If they could get the same sort of tone and the same mannerisms and whatnot, then yeah, I don't see why not. I know the Sony have tried to get Uncharted off the ground in terms of a movie adaptation for what feels like a decade now, and the latest I heard is that they wanted to do a kind of origin film with Tom Holland. I believe,
yeah, I was going to say that, yeah.
It's Uncharted 3 that there's some levels where you play as a young Nathan Drake, and I think that's where they wanted to pick it up. But
in Uncharted 4, there's an even younger Nathan Drake as well. So they have... But I've done an essay on video game films, and I think the best way to do it would be take the character that we love, don't exactly change it, but give us a different story. Because if they do the same story over and over again, then there's going to be nothing for the actual Uncharted fans to like. That's my take on it anyway.
Yeah, that's fair. I have to admit, there's not many video game movie adaptations that are particularly good. I have a soft spot for the Lara Croft, Angelina Jolie movies, just because they're schlocky action fun.
Schlocky.
And Korn do a music video for the second one, which is, neat.
Well, because Korn, back in that video game called Haze, that worked out really well for that game too.
Yeah, everyone played Haze.
Yeah, I remember I bought that down release. Jeez, what was I doing?
They called it the Haze days.
Oh, they were my Haze days. It's good though, like that the Nathan Fillion thing, fan-made film can get people excited. Well, really, he was just a fan making a film, just like me or you could.
I mean, they were both professionals, and everyone involved was a professional, but ultimately they had no permission to do it. They had no backing or funding from any major studio, so for all intents and purposes, yeah, it is just two lads meeting up and being like, yeah, let's make a quick film. Which is cool.
I did it for the love.
I did it
for the rock.
You beat me to it. I was seconds away from that. Rikishi would be good, Nathan Drake.
I did it for the rock. I did it for the people. What was it? Oh, shut up, you thong-wearing fatty. That was... They're cousins or something, weren't they? Or was that his uncle? Like, imagine saying that to your own uncle, shut up, you thong-wearing fatty. Like, that's not very nice, is it?
I'd say that to you.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks. You got to call me Uncle Craig from now on, though.
Unky Craig.
Unky Craig. Do we have a track of the week?
We do indeed. Track of the week is Broken Design.
Track of the week.
Are you done?
Yeah, okay, got him. I'm ready.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure you're ready because this is a banger. The track of the week is Broken Designs In Pieces. They are a stoner rock band based in Malta who have released an EP, Halo of Flies, last year, and this is the last single to be released off that. It just dropped this weekend, so the weekend just gone, if you're listening now. I really dig this track. I don't know days. Like I just wake up in the morning.
Time is a concept that man created.
Yeah. And it just doesn't exist. Everything's happening at once. But one thing that is happening right now is that we are about to play Broken Designs. I'm going with Christopher Walken, In Pieces. Check it out.
Tanner, and you are lucky enough to be listening to Upside Down Shark Radio.
And that was Broken Design with In Pieces. Make sure to check out their EP, Halo of Flies. You can get it on Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, Google Play, or Bandcamp. Give them some love.
What I do occasionally like the stoner rock song from time to time. How about yourself, Tom?
Well, as a man who abstains from anything that could be considered stoner culture, I am actually partial to a bit. I do dig a bit of Mastodon, a bit of Down, good as well. And I really like a Broken Design as well.
Yeah, that was our work ethic for Upside Down Shark ever since we began. So that works out well for us.
What, a Broken Design?
Yes. We abstain from genres, and we just like music because it's music.
It's muses. Ironically, I hate Muse.
That is quite ironic because I don't think they've done anything good recently either. So thank you, Matt Bellamy.
Oh, that new single is just absolute garbage.
I have heard hardcore Muse fans say, "What are they doing?" Like,
did you just hear a jet go over my head?
Hey, in real time, I heard the plane go from my house to your house.
That's so weird.
And I'm in Africa right now, and you're in Great Britain. How is that happening?
Oh well, I'll bless the rains for you.
What, like that Weezer song?
Oh,
I like that cover.
It's a good cover, but you still frustrate me, Bourne.
It's like I know this additional song knowledge just to infuriate people. Would you like to talk about infuriating people?
Infuriating people?
Yes, would you like to talk about a bit of news that we have not discussed prior to us recording, but I think it's worth talking about?
Go on, you tell me.
There is... the first half we talked about DC films. This second half, why don't we talk a bit about Marvel films?
That seems fair.
My favourite, I would say, Marvel films out of the whole MCU has been the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Ah, yes.
Here we go. Recently, Disney have sacked James Gunn, the director of the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and 2. And he was director, and also he had a big say in the soundtrack and the feel of the films. And he really did something different with the films that we knew from Marvel at that point. But they have sacked him over what were rape and some other sort of controversial tweets that he posted 10 years ago. What are your thoughts on this, Thomas?
I was conflicted to start with because I know the ABC, who are also owned by Disney, fired Roseanne Barr from Roseanne because of controversial tweets that she made. So my initial gut reaction was, well, politics aside, because obviously she was very right-wing, very Trump-orientated, whereas James Gunn is very liberal and left-wing, is that you can't fire one if you don't fire the other. You've got to maintain some neutrality. So I was like, well, it's got to happen. The more I looked into it, though, the more it really frustrated me, the way they've treated him and the way they've handled this. Because did you see how the tweets resurfaced and came to light?
I don't know. I presume it's just someone trawling through the back catalogue.
It was a right-wing group who took umbrage with James Gunn calling out Trump on his Twitter in a public sphere, and so decided to go on a crusade to essentially try and get him actively fired from Twitter, from the Guardians director's job.
Give it time. He'll be fired from Twitter. They get rid of people that don't really deserve it.
Yeah, but the fact is that these jokes were from anywhere between 8 to 9 years ago, and if you are being like nothing, obviously the things he said were disgusting, and the things he said he shouldn't have been said. But if you're fired from something which has been in the public sphere for that long and it's only just now coming to light and everything, then it's just such a snap decision. Like, I don't know about you. Obviously, he's a lot older than us, but I was a completely different person. Well, 9 years ago, I was 14. So And
so you were cracking all those bad jokes.
I would be saying some really horrendous stuff because I was immature and really dumb. But I know that his brother Sean Gunn, who also stars in Guardians, he came out and said that the actual role of directing Guardians and writing Guardians taught him how to be a better person and how to realize that to be a successful writer and become noticed, he didn't have to make all these shocking, controversial jokes that didn't reflect who he was as a person. He was only saying them to get a reaction. And it's the same with Dave Bautista. He's also come out and defended him. And yeah, it's just such a shame that they would do this. I personally now think it is very unfair. I think the fact that he is since this has happened, since he made the tweets and before it blew up over the weekend, he's already acknowledged them, and he said that he is a changed person and that he doesn't believe or agree with what he said and that he regrets saying it. So it's not even like he's denied it, or well, obviously it'd be hard to deny it, but it's not that even that he's tried to try to distance himself, much in the way that a lot of other Twitter aficionados who are prominent in American politics do.
Yeah. So I sort of land on the same thing as you. Well, who was the actress that you said beforehand? Who was that?
Roseanne.
Yeah, hers was pretty much of that time though. Like she said it straight away.
It was like within a week of her making the tweet, it basically ended her career.
Yeah. Whilst this is like something, like the way I spoke to my friends about it was like, here's something I said ages ago. Since then, I've grown as a person and done better things, and I've changed since then. But it's the social media going bad again for all these sort of peoples, and it's hard to differentiate like who you were now and who you were then and stuff like that. When I stopped using Facebook, you can download all your data.
Yeah.
So I'd look at all my posts I did before I deleted all of them, and some of the stuff I said is the cringiest stuff. And if you spoke to me today, I would be completely different, and I'm sure that's the same for James Gunn.
Yeah, I remember just going back to Facebook. Do you remember when everyone would put as their status is happy, is hungry, or something like that?
Third person, so you sound like The Rock.
Yeah, exactly. You would just follow on for what your name, what said where your name was and everything.
For him, he was an up and coming director at the time. I'm not trying to defend him, but controversy was the sort of thing that helped him get the jobs that he needed to get where he is now. And it's like one of those things where you think about Disney. Weren't they Nazi sympathizers at one point? And now you see where they are now.
I don't think he was. I don't think he was a Nazi sympathizer. I know he was very anti-Semitic, Walt Disney himself, but I get your point that as much as you should be held accountable for your past, it doesn't necessarily mean that it defines you or who you are now.
I think the people that rummage around looking for this stuff are more toxic than, probably because they're out there trying to, make... They're out there negative-wise, trying to sabotage people's careers and stuff like that, and it happened. They got through what they were trying to do, which is sad to me.
Yeah, I the way I see it is that as much as it's not right what happened, as what I believe personally, no one necessarily did anything wrong, because if it's out there on Twitter, regardless of how old it's still in the public domain. So you can still access it readily and legally. There's nothing, as much as it's sad and a bit perverse to go through and troll through years and years of tweets just trying to out someone or try and smear their name. You have to be prepared that people will be willing to do that. And likewise, Disney have every right to protect their image, and I'm sure they have a lot of investors and a lot of stakeholders that were like, "Oh no, this is awful! Like, look at the amount of press and coverage this is getting," and Disney had to appease them in a very snappy, quick way. And I suppose the only thing he could have done in hindsight, which again is just a sad state of affairs, is just delete every tweet he made before he signed with Disney.
Yeah, so like people new employers now, they look at your social media profiles and stuff like that, they look to see what you've been saying. So, maybe it is well that you should do that from time to time. It sounds sad, but that's probably the best way.
I think it's a very sensible thing to do. I know for a fact I'm just moving into a role where in my job where I am getting involved in hiring new staff, and I know that for a fact that it's definitely a policy, not a written policy, but definitely a common practice to scope out someone's social media just to see what kind of person they are, whether or not they come across as professional, whether or not they have any thing that might either be work towards their application or work against them. And yeah, I just feel really, really sorry for James Gunn that this is all sort of blown up in his face right as sort of the peak of his influence on the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because I know he had a lot of sway in how Avengers Infinity War turned out as well. So yeah.
So should we let's move on to probably I like talking about social media and us as a society. Do you reckon, because Twitter now is what people can call toxic and stuff like that, there's threats to loads of people, do you see another social networking service coming on, or Twitter changing or going under? What do you see happening in the future, Tom? Because I don't think this is gonna, for the rest of our lives, if everyone is linked to a Twitter page, it can't be good. At least that's what I think.
I know, I completely agree, and I know for a fact that Twitter are hemorrhaging money, more so than I think any other social network of like that sort of scale. That's why they've resorted to advertising on TV quite regularly, which Facebook don't often do. I think the only Facebook ad I've seen in the past 6 or 7 years have been when they had to apologise for the data breaches. Yeah, basically.
We're sorry.
Whereas Twitter have had to really gun for the fact that, look at all the features that our platform can do. I think the only thing that has helped keep Twitter up and running and relevant so far is, unfortunately, Donald Trump. I think that's the only thing that has kept people interested in the platform. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been surprised if it died off sooner.
There's an old Eric Bischoff book called Controversy Creates Cash. So there you go.
It's true. I know that Instagram could very well be the top social network in the next 2 or 3 years. I know it's owned by Facebook, but it may very well have more active users on Facebook in that time. So yeah, just personally, I have no data to back this up. This is just what I've seen in my own experience.
Hit with the kids.
In my own experience, it's maybe not. Maybe that's the reason that it's becoming more apparent to me, is because I'm growing old. But it's that more people are moving away from the public sphere of social media, like posting on your Facebook wall and Twitter, and going more towards messenger services like Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp. Not so much over in the UK, but Viber in Asia and America as well. And I think that's the way that it's going to go. I think that's the way that people will communicate in the future. It'll be smaller groups, so you'll either have one-to-one conversations or you'll have your little group chats based around your friends, but you won't share so much publicly. So in that regard, then the problems that James Gunn and others have had where things come back to haunt them, that won't be so prevalent, because it will be kept semi-privately at least. But even Facebook have clocked onto that. They've started, I don't know if you've seen it, but they've started rolling out ads on Messenger, so that you'll go through your list of conversations, and after 3 or 4 you'll see an advert pop up. And
it's now like, after oversharing, we're now reeling back a bit, and everyone's realised it's not, you don't have to share. Like for me, I said Craig is eating cheese, or Craig is just took a walk. God, I'm knackered. Like, who cares?
Well, as a sidebar, there is actual footage of you eating cheese on on Facebook, on YouTube now. So, you know, that is out there.
Is there?
You and Mega Ran.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, you're correct. And where can people find that?
They can find it at YouTube. Just type in Upside Down Shark. We haven't got a custom URL yet because we need 100 subs, but we're getting there. So
please subscribe, Paul. Please subscribe.
Please subscribe. But yeah, there is a great video of you interviewing nerdcore rapper Mega Ran and sharing a slice of what kind of cheese was it? Was it extra mature?
I think it was extra mature. Yeah.
Wow, just like our content.
We're not R-rated yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Demonetized.
But yeah, when my best Facebook status, Craig Bourne. I like nuts. They salty. I have no idea what I was doing that day. I can't remember typing that. But if that's anything, like, please don't get rid of me, Tom, because I said that. Okay.
Well, I mean,
I can do better.
Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I will have to review that because we can't be having that. That kind of dirty conversations just sour the brand name.
All tweets are my own.
That's all right then.
Look, should we finish on something positive?
Yeah, let's go for it. Did you have something in mind?
I just want to say there's the Xbox Ultimate Game Sale happening right now, and it's still running for about another week. Quite a few good deals. I myself picked up every Saints Row game for just over £11. So
it's pretty good.
I would recommend people check that out if you have an Xbox. Commercialism wins. Yeah.
I have an Xbox. I had no idea about that. I'm definitely going to have to check that out after this episode.
Good. And positivity-wise, I ate some pizza. Saw some friends for my birthday. You done anything fun this week, Tom?
I was also at your birthday. I won at beer pong with you, which was a great success.
Team boyfriends of those people over there. We definitely brought it and won.
Undefeated. I've also enjoyed the trailer for Godzilla King of Monsters. I am very, very looking forward to that.
Is this setting up Godzilla versus King Kong?
I think so. Have you seen the trailer for it yet?
No, I have not.
Basically, it sets up that there are other monsters from the original Godzilla lore, like Rodan and Mothra, all dotted around the world, and that they are basically like the fever that basically humans have tainted the world so much that the earth has got these monsters which work as basically an antibody to rein humans back in.
So stupid. I like it.
I know, it's exactly the kind of schlocky B-movie thing that is just great to go and watch in the cinema. So it's also going to star Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things, which is good casting in my opinion. Is
this anything to do with Kong Skull Island, or is it different altogether?
I know it's definitely in the same universe as that and Pacific Rim, so I would not at all be surprised if we see some sort of cameo from the big gorilla, but that might just be Paul.
Okay. Finally out the zoo.
We can only hope.
So I think that's going to do it for this week, then, Tommy.
Yeah, I think we've rambled on long enough. Thank you very much for having a chinwag.
Yeah, it's been fun.
And thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed the show, and hopefully we will have video recording capabilities back next week for your audiovisual pleasure.
But just like Blue sang, no promises, baby.
I've been Tom.
I'm still Craig.
And we'll speak to you next time.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Woo! And that was A Broken Design with In Pieces. Make sure to check out